Welcome to the Wally Show podcast.
Woohoo!
Hey,
Hi, I'm
nicely
Wally.
done.
How's it going?
Hey, don't imitate me.
Hey, don't imitate me.
I don't like it that the imitation of me is like that nerdy dad from
Gary.
Ew, yeah,
Gary. Ew.
Yeah.
First you
There's a
shake
party
it, then
over
you
here.
bake it.
So this is our precast and podcast because we don't have a normal show going on all this week because we are doing our Hope Happens event with Compassion. But because we love you, potties, and because you will email constantly nonstop, where's the new podcast? We are doing a special podcast just for you of things that we would have talked about on the show today had we actually done a show. Who took my chair?
You're looking all around.
You guys take my chair. Like I was gonna sit down because it's gonna be a while, and Betty Rock took my chair. Okay, I will
You never
stay.
had one.
I didn't. Oh, well, I knew
You can
that.
have my chair.
Oh no, you're so
No,
kind,
really?
but that's okay.
Don't give him that.
You know what? You're the
my
best.
Gosh.
You're going to let her do that after it took her an extra day to
wait
get
a
home?
second. Give me that chair back.
You get away from my chair.
That is a good point.
Wait,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah, take Betty's. Just push her out.
This is mine. Wait, what happened?
What do you mean what happened? You remember
She-
how long it took to get home? Okay, real quick. We were in Africa, okay? We were with Compassion in Africa. And so we're coming back. We're at the airport. And I got to check in first before everybody. And so I check in, and the lady goes, okay, well, we've got you, let me see, Accra to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Detroit, Detroit to Nashville. And I'm like, okay, great. And I start to walk away. I'm like, hey, wait, no, I'm going to Atlanta. I'm supposed to be in Atlanta. And she's like, nope, says here, Detroit. I'm like, no. So I'm freaking out a little, like going, okay, I had to wait for everybody to get up. I'm like, where are you going? And then, so one person after another, Zach, Becca, Betty, like, Minneapolis. Like, what? So they booked everybody else on the show and even other people we were traveling with all through Minneapolis and sent me by myself to Detroit. I know. And like the whole time before this trip, like Betty and Zach and Becca, I was trying to get them to switch seats to sit with me so that they didn't have to sit by any strangers because I hate that. They get all in your space and stuff. And none of them wanted to sit by me. And then because I like being around people I like. And all of a sudden, I'm flying by myself now. Completely, utterly alone, flying back from Africa because of the storms that were hitting the East Coast. It messed up travel everywhere, and so we kind of got hosed by that. But the irony of the situation is me being by myself. I had like the best seats on the plane that you could get, aisle bulkhead, so plenty of leg room. I had great flights. All my flights were on time. Well, one was delayed 8 minutes. Yeah, like, Becca's like, I will punch you.
Even.
And so once I got past the mental part of that, and I figured I could make it 8 minutes, I boarded my plane, got home in time, but it still took me like an hour and a half to get home because of the weather, the snow on the ground, the ice on the ground. It kind of messed up traffic. But Zach and Betty got home before Becca even, correct?
Yeah, we were supposed to be on a 2:00 flight that got canceled. So
From Minneapolis to Nashville.
Minneapolis to Nashville. Betty and I both made it on a 5:30. So we made it home that night, which was great. Becca, not so much.
No, because there were 8 people in Minneapolis, and there were 2 more flights to Nashville. So we're like, okay, we'll just split up among the flights. So Betty and Zach are on the 5 o'clock. The rest of the people are on the 7 o'clock. And then me, Reby, who does Blog Report, and Joy, we all got on the next night at 8 p.m. So we weren't going to get home till over 24 hours later than everybody else. And so we're trying to work it out. And we finally decided to reroute through Atlanta, which would get us home a little bit earlier, but we still have to spend the night in a hotel. And we're accepting this. We were okay until we started seeing people get on the plane. And we're like, they're abandoning us.
Yeah, never
They're leaving us.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for you at all because everyone left me in Amsterdam.
But you got home on time. We fly to Atlanta.
That's
We
just
just
good,
did
clean living.
45 minutes because there wasn't a gate agent. And then we finally get out. We get to our hotel. It's like 1:30 in the morning. We fly.
And this is at what, the 45-hour mark of traveling, probably?
Yeah,
Yes.
it had been, I think at that point, it was around there. So the next day, we finally go back to the Atlanta airport. We're supposed to fly home. Our flight's delayed an hour and a half.
The hits just keep coming.
It just kept going. And so we got home an entire 24 hours after the rest of the team.
And keep in mind, like, during most of that time, you're not sleeping.
No,
Right.
20-minute increment naps.
Yeah, it was terrible.
bad.
We were all like on the verge of tears, and it was just
Because
bad.
I was like, at one time when you're going to be in Minneapolis, I'm like, well, at least you got the day, go to the mall, have fun. And you're like, not fun. I want to be home. Like, okay. And then she's like, the only thing that makes this better is that Betty's not with us. And she's like, because when Betty travels, the thing I've learned about Betty hits her wall where she gets tired and she turns into angry Betty. And like you don't even want to talk to her. Like she gets crazy angry.
Did I do that on this flight?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Once
No.
I kept waiting for Angry Betty, and she
No.
never
never came out.
Yeah, you did a really good job. You did a really good job.
I hit angry a couple times before
Yeah,
Betty did.
I know. But I think that layer of travel, what Becca went through, you would have hit your point for sure.
Oh, yeah. If they started crying, I would
yeah.
start
Yeah.
crying. But
Yeah.
you got to keep in mind, you've been up for 45 hours doing
Right.
like 20-minute naps. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to hit a breaking point.
Oh, yeah.
There shouldn't be any judgment.
No, we're over that point.
You did a good job on your flights because I know you're a nervous flyer, but you did great. You were really self-sufficient and you took care of everything. And was there any, did you have any problems on planes with people? Because that's kind of new for you on a flight
No,
that long.
There was only one, but there was the first flight that we took back from Ghana to Amsterdam. That was the worst flight for everyone that was in our group. Everyone was
Wouldn't
in
know. I was
middle
by
seats.
myself.
Yeah, because we all lost our seats when they rebooked everything, so
they
all
put,
of us got
they put
middles.
everyone in middle seats.
Those are
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, well, Rebe, who does Blog Report, she had a window seat, and I wanted to sit by somebody because that just makes me feel better. But I'm sitting there, and they give us our dinners while we're on. They give you chicken or fish. And I don't even know why they have fish as an option.
Fish is
'cause
disgusting.
It just stinks so bad. It
Yeah.
stinks up the whole cabin. Well, sure enough, the lady right beside me, she gets fish, and she opens up these little compartment things that they have them in, and it stinks to high heaven. Then she eats it, falls asleep, and she has her mouth wide open while she's sleeping, and her breath could have killed a
She's
person.
exhaling fish
Yeah.
breath.
So while she's sleeping, I can hear her every time she's like exhaling. So every time she did, I'd like turn her way and I'd go
And blow the air back to her.
I didn't want to smell it. It was so bad. But that is nothing compared to everyone else's stories. Like that was actually good compared to the others.
Yeah, I can't complain. My travel home ended up actually being all right, and so it wasn't horrible. It was just normal long flights.
I actually love that they serve fish on flights because it's what enables my pro traveling tip number 127.
Oh yes,
Because it's so much easier to travel for long periods of time if you have your shoes off. But after you've been traveling all day, it really starts to smell. So I always take my shoes off as soon as they start serving the meal because
idea.
it smells so bad anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my
People just
gosh.
assume it's the food smelling.
Oh,
that wasn't the fish you
gross.
smelled.
yeah. You're like, they're like, would you like your choice of fish or feet?
Yes.
I think we're having feet today, right?
Oh, they smelled so bad.
Pro Traveler tip 122 is if you've missed the window for the food, take your shoes halfway off first and don't rub your feet together because that will make if you already have kind of smelly feet on the verge, when you rub them together, it seems to release scent pheromone, whatever, and stink. So
Try
don't
that
do
out.
that and wrap your feet in the blanket, and you're usually going to be okay as somebody who has had to take off socks before on a plane. Yeah.
I don't smell anything. I'm rubbing my feet together.
Oh, really? Well, they might not stink.
Stop, guys.
Smell his feet,
stop.
Rock.
No! Oh, God.
Oh,
Stop
dude.
smelling his feet.
He literally just put his foot up to his nose. I didn't know you were that flexible, man.
yeah.
That's pretty impressive. We should do like a contortionist bit with you. It's amazing. So it's good to be home. I'm glad that we're all back safe and sound. Becca, I'm sorry that you got hosed the worst.
She got a night in an extravagant hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
2 a.m. I fell asleep.
And I texted her too while she was over there, and I would like ask questions, and I would get one word answers.
Yeah.
And I started getting nervous. Like
That was the point I was at.
Yeah, I was afraid because I was texting her too, and I was trying to gauge the likelihood that she was going to murder somebody by her responses.
And after all of these things, like you start realizing those stories that come out where a man stabbed another man on a plane today. It's like, yeah, if your planes are rerouted 1,000 times,
Yeah.
you're pushed to the
Understandable.
limit.
And we
Yeah.
try to stay positive. There's one point where I go, we're going to be home in 24 hours. And Joy goes, we're going to be home in 24 hours. And she starts crying. Like, you just can't stay positive after a while.
And then you pile on the added guilt.
Yeah.
Having just
Yeah.
come home from seeing people literally living on dirt, like in dirt huts.
Yeah.
and you feel such compassion for them, and then you're complaining about sitting around in a hotel or airport in comfy seats and eating food.
It was just bad all around. Like,
I just got a text from Betty's sponsor child, Vivian, that says, please tell Becca to stop complaining.
Guys, if you had been the one stranded, I wouldn't hear the end of it.
Well, this is why, and honestly, like, this is why we're talking about this on the podcast, because when you're, we're trying to get kids sponsored and things like that, and so if you're complaining about anything, you can't complain on these trips because you come off as the most insensitive human being alive when, like Zach's saying, you see them have nothing, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is not sparkling water? What?
Why would they serve fish?
Yeah.
And that was what I was doing in the airports. Like, I would start crying about the fact that we were left behind, and then I'd start crying because I felt guilty because of the kids that lived with next to nothing, and then I started just crying just to cry.
Because you're so tired.
They say we're boarding flight to Nashville, and you're like, oh, thank God.
You get like that
Start
too.
kissing the lady, like, thank you so much.
One thing that's funny on the flights that I notice is that everyone, you always worry about legroom, and I'm smaller than like Becca, so legroom's important to her for sure. And so I'll get like a bulkhead or an exit row because I like that. But
as the 5'6" person.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the person who has no need of legroom whatsoever, that they could actually put her in the overhead bin is Betty. Betty on a plane puts her legs up on the seat. Like, she has her feet on the seat with her knees up by her chin.
Like a falcon perching on a wire.
Like those, like the Elf on a Shelf kind of thing. Like, where it has its arms wrapped around its knees.
Guys.
She looks like Elf on a Shelf.
Well, I mean, yeah, but there were moments.
She's a dame
where,
on a plane.
There are moments that, like, I think I have really bad knees, or it's because I sit funny.
Yeah.
And so they start hurting, and I have to, like, stretch and stuff. But then Zach's like, get up and walk around, like, that'll help you. But then that's awkward because you hang on to other people's seats, and you could fall into someone else's lap. Like,
that's why I sit on the aisle. So if I want to get up, I can. I sat next to a pregnant lady on the way home from Detroit, and sister had to get up a lot. She told me about it in the beginning. She's like, look, I'm pregnant. I'm like, oh, thank you for not making me ask. And she's like, I'll probably be getting up a lot. If you want to switch, I'll sit on the aisle. I'm like, I'll let you go. Don't you worry about it.
Well, Zach was talking about how that flight that I was telling you about fish breath lady. Anyways, he was talking about how he had to sit behind or in front of a crying baby.
Oh.
Seat right in front of me.
For the record, okay, on one of our flights, there was a child that screamed, like the entire first hour of that flight. The flight attendants were trying to get the child to stop. It wouldn't stop. The mom couldn't get it to stop. Finally, one of the flight attendants picked the baby up, or the child up, out of the mom's arms and walked around the back of the plane with her.
Can they do that?
She did. I don't care. She did. I don't know what she did when she went to the back. That baby was better behaved on the way up. Like,
I just got a text from Samuel, who has a bad leg and lives in Ghana and doesn't have a sponsor yet, and he just feels so bad that he had a crying baby for an hour.
Yeah, I personally loved it because I love children.
Oh my God.
They're a gift from God.
Yeah, but oh my goodness, it was insane how much this kid screamed. So then I'm on my last flight home, my flight by myself, and I'm coming back to Nashville from where was I? Detroit. And so this last, we're all on thing. I'm on my aisle seat, everything's good, and this family gets on at the very end. They're the last people to board, so I guess they like just got on, and they're like, none of our seats are together. We need seats together, and they're like, please, will people trade with us? And so the people next to me, there was a couple next to me, like they instantly got up.
No, sit down.
I'm like, what? Sit down! Stop it! Sit down! And so the two of them are like, yeah, we'll trade. I'm like, they have little children. And so they trade with this lady who sits in the seat in the aisle, has a baby on her chest, and then has another like 4-year-old that sits in the in-between seats. And so then I'm like, hey, Dad, do you want my seat? Yeah, I'll sit anywhere and I'll trade. And he's like, no, I've got another kid. I got to keep him with me. I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
Because I would have traded my seat in the first place, but this couple was so fast on the trigger, and she needed 2 seats, so I couldn't help them. And so then I sat next to her for that flight, and oh wow! Fortunately, the lady had twins. The crying twin was up with the dad, so the dad lost that lottery, and so did everyone else around him. At least the twin with her was quiet, but then the little girl reminded me of flying with my own daughter. When we would fly when she was little, We'd get on the plane. I'd have a suitcase filled with toys. She and I would start playing, and the game would change every 30 seconds. We had to play something else. And then my wife is like, you'd think she is traveling not with us. She's reading a magazine. The flight attendant comes by. She's like, these children. I was like a single dad. It was ridiculous. On flight, she checked out. And so this kid is sitting next to me. So I start playing on my phone. And so she is looking at me. I'm like, oh, you like the Candy Crush? Okay. So I start playing games with this other lady's child on my phone just to keep her still because she kept kicking the seat of the guy in front of me, and I know how annoying that is. So we're playing games on my phone, and every 30 seconds, like, different game, different game, different game. So that's how I flew back. That wasn't horrible. Again, not
Vivian's texting Betty again.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
So not the end of the world. All right, let's get on to some things that we would have talked about on the show also today. Like the Super Bowl has been set. We know the teams that are in the Super Bowl.
Yay!
What?
Everyone in the room, maybe but me, knows the teams that are in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Betty, do you know who's in the Super Bowl?
When is the Super Bowl?
In February sometime,
Oh.
right?
2 weeks.
I saw a lot on Facebook about this crying guy, and I've seen him. I think he's married to a model.
Oh, is that Tom Brady?
I saw him crying a
I
lot.
didn't see that. That's awesome.
Is that Tom Brady?
Yeah, I haven't been on Facebook today because I've been working. But
So
I'll
wait,
look
who
that
does
up.
Tom Brady play for? The Patriots?
Yes.
Okay, so he was crying, which means he either got in or did not
He
get
did
in.
not get in because
not.
the Broncos are in.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That was a fantastic game.
Oh, that was the one that somebody in Ghana was using your phone to try and watch the game, right?
No, that was a week before.
No, who
Yes.
knows? Okay, but it was the Broncos, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow, so it's the Denver Broncos, and I have no idea who else. Anyone? Carolina Panthers.
There you go.
They're in it?
Yeah.
Wow, who's their quarterback?
Cam Newton.
Oh, really? Oh, my gosh,
It'll
I
be
love him
real
on...
interesting. He's like the opposite of Peyton Manning. So
I
it'll
love
be-
his brother Fig.
Nice one, Mom.
and his other brother Oflage.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah.
Nope, doesn't work.
Jet lag.
Camouflage. Wow. Okay, so there you go. That's the two teams for the Super Bowl. Does it I don't think any of us care about any of those teams, do we?
I care because Peyton Manning, this could be his last year, and
Oh, why the long face?
for a Hall of Famer like him to have the chance to go out on top is phenomenal. And
So you will root
I
for
hope
them.
he wins and then takes that opportunity to like,
retire.
You just don't want to see your heroes slowly decline, and it was a tough year for him.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. I will root for them now too.
My brother is a big Broncos fan, like huge. So just for him, I think I'd root for the Broncos.
Yeah. All
Sorry,
right.
the jet lag.
And we're on in Denver, so
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
we're on Carolina
and
too.
Oh, that's right. Our
Carolina.
our home offices are in Denver,
Springs, yeah.
like the Springs. Yeah, so we should pull for one of them. All right, I am such a horrible fan though. Like right now, I like your story about Peyton Manning. I think that'd be cool to see him go out on top and actually retire, unlike Brett Favre. Favre. But so that would be great. But I have this weird thing where whoever's losing, if it's a close game, I always start pulling for the underdog because I want to see the game end like exciting. Like I guess they came down in the last game. The Patriots scored with like 12 seconds left and then missed a 2-point conversion or something like that.
Right.
And that's what cost them the game.
Yeah, it would have tied it up if they had the two.
Okay, so they had to get the two to tie it up.
Who's doing the Super Bowl halftime?
Good question, Rock.
I
And
assume Rihanna from commercials I've seen.
It's a bunch
don't
of
know if
people.
that's-
I thought.
Because
Really?
it's the 50th Super Bowl, so they're doing...
That's a big deal.
Which I love that they're average. You know how the Super Bowl always goes by the numbers, like XX1, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not doing the number this year at all. They're going with 50 because the Roman numeral for 50 is L.
Oh,
So they're
really?
not like putting up a big L everywhere.
L, like loser. Oh, that's
Okay,
funny.
so it's going to feature Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars at least.
Bruno Mars was in it a
Ooh.
couple years ago.
Beyonce was
Beyonce
in it a
was
couple
too.
years ago.
Really? I don't like Beyonce. I'm not a fan.
I like Bruno. He does a good show.
And Coldplay.
Yeah.
Coldplay is one of those bands I hear that they're like more fun to go to and see live. Like it's an experience and the energy is good in that. But like their music is so mid-tempo and just kind of like, okay.
It sounds kind of like if they're bringing back people that did it years past, they might be keep doing that. Like I know NSYNC came one time, Britney Spears. And
Oh, bye.
So I wonder if they'll like bring back the people that did it.
Oh,
You
they
know,
bring
kind of
back
because-
Left Shark.
Oh, Oh, yes.
Wouldn't it be great if Left Shark was in
Yes,
again?
I love Left Shark.
Left Shark should always make an appearance
Yeah.
somewhere, somehow in the Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that would rule. Okay, so there you go. That's that. And you know what? We were talking about weather stuff and that winter storm Jonas. Like that was a big deal. Actually, I didn't know that there were 29 deaths across the
Whoa.
country from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where?
New York across the country. New York got 26 inches. And Baltimore got 29. The most was in West Virginia. They got 40 inches of snow.
Wow.
Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I saw something on the news that New York City had told people not to have their cars on the streets at all. Like there were just no cars on the street. In
Really?
New York City, yeah.
Well, where are you going to put them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it
I
in
don't
your
know.
apartment.
I mean, like no one driving around.
Oh, okay.
And so they
yeah.
had shots, and it was like completely dead in the city. Cause,
Yeah, and like the cars were just covered with snow.
Yeah.
And there in Nashville it was bad too because again we were talking about trying to get home to Nashville and our airport is not built for snow at all. Like it's almost like there was a guy with a broom and a dustpan trying to clear off the runway. Like we are not made for snow.
Yeah, I had a friend who was a Nashville native, so he's lived here his entire life, and all he had to clear his driveway was an actual shovel, like a big metal shovel, just a little one. It's not made for scooping snow.
You walk down the street, people have guitars. They're trying to scoop the snow with.
Yeah, that's so we're not prepared for it. And there was a reporter in Nashville doing a report live during the snowstorm, and suddenly this guy like walks through the shot and he's not wearing a shirt, like in the middle of this snowstorm.
Dude, aren't you cold? No, man, I'm from Wisconsin. From Wisconsin, everybody.
That's what I love. No, man, I'm from Wisconsin. You call this cold? I hate Northerners.
There is a side of me still that does that though, because I'm from Illinois, and so now and then I'll be like, Psh, "You wearing a coat already? It's only 35 degrees."
You
out."
guys with the thin, like the thick blood or something, like you Northerners, you just like to flaunt it. When I was in Atlanta, there was a Canadian. Strike one. There was a Canadian. What was that guy's name? He was big. Maybe I shouldn't mention him by name because he could hurt me. But like Stewart, and I probably shouldn't have said that. But he would wear shorts in the middle of winter, and like, "Hey, Stewart, you're wearing shorts again." Yeah, I'm Canadian, eh? Doesn't bother me, eh? Like, all right, eh? But it's kind of like I think they love to flaunt the fact that they're not cold. So they go to the extremes of like wearing shorts or like this guy not wearing a shirt. You know that guy's cold. I don't care if you're from
ridiculous.
Wisconsin. It was cold.
What
it was
are you
down in the
trying to
teens.
prove?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why can't we just let people do what they want to do, though?
Why can't we just make them more like me?
Why does it? Yes. Why does everybody have to conform to you?
He's just gonna get his own pneumonia.
I know. Yeah.
Don't be
It's
mad
he's
at
not
him.
hurting anybody.
But then his health, like he probably doesn't have health
He
insurance.
has free health care up in
He's-
Canada.
He's from Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin, yeah,
Yeah, he's
close
from
Yeah, it's basically
Wisconsin.
Canada.
Yeah.
South Canada.
South Canada. Let me see. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, Trump. A little bit of the political side of things going on. Did you guys hear this? Trump, like, I think he said so many things during the course of this election to, I think, get him kicked out of it, but then no, like he still stays in. He can say whatever he wants to say, and it seems to never hurt him. And I actually think that he is fully cognitively aware of that fact.
I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Who says that?
Yeah, I know. This is the next president of the United States. Like,
It's hyperbole.
well, I know
Everyone
that.
with an ounce of common sense knows that he's like, I'm not a Trump supporter or defender, but they're just giving him more publicity by trying to blow this up into a big thing.
I mean, the guy's a genius from that standpoint, like where he keeps saying things that are just insane, but it works. I mean, and that's our own fault for making it work. But I really thought this guy was going to be gone by now, and I am starting to think he might actually win this thing. Like, how crazy! And then there's a weirder side of me that's thinking, what if, like. Maybe it would be cool. I don't know. To like not take garbage from people anymore. Like we spent the last 8 years kind of getting rolled over and not calling things terrorist events, calling them incidents and like trying to play nice with everybody. Part of me is like having somebody in there that's like, you know what? Yeah, no, I don't like that. We're going to smack you down a little bit. It might be good. I don't know.
If he were elected, how long would it take before he started pushing to have himself added to Mount Rushmore?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think
no,
that's week 2 in office.
Zach, please, he'd get his own mountain. He wouldn't want to hang out with
That
those
teeny
losers.
little hill. Oh, it's going to be huge.
I don't
It
wanna
would
be
have
with
to be
those losers
huge.
like Washington.
Oh, man. So, all right, you know what? I think that's going to have to do it for our podcast for today. And, if you've been listening to this because we're doing the podcast differently, it's because we're doing a compassion event. And you're on the internet anyway, a lot of times listening and stuff. So I would encourage you to go to allwally.com and check out some of the faces of these little kids and maybe choose to make a difference in them and become a sponsor of one of these compassion kids during our Hope Happens event, because the cool thing is it makes a difference in their lives, but I can promise you it'll make a difference in yours and your families as well. So as always, thank you so much for being a potty, and thank you for listening to this nonsense.